Battlefield 2042 received its biggest patch ever. Godzilla and King Kong are coming to Warzone, the director of the Uncharted series is making a new Star Wars game, and much more on This Week in Gaming. Update 4.0 for Battlefield 2042 included over 400 bug fixes and several quality of life improvements. These include voice chat for your squad mates and party, an end-of-round scoreboard, and an updated roster of weapon attachments, each behaving differently from before. And over 60 other improvements were also excluded from the patch notes that players have discovered. Some of the highlights include improved destruction and debris physics, the settings in-game are now more readable with an updated on and off switch, performance is slightly better on PC and consoles, a new takedown animation has been added to the portal mode, the player screen flashes blue when your armor is destroyed, tornadoes feature more debris, the list of changes goes on and is constantly being added to as players discover more. All of the improvements come together to make the experience better. The core gameplay designer at DICE replied to this list on Reddit stating that a lot more is on the way. Details on the next patch for 2042 are already surfacing. The Bolt will be moved to the attack vehicle category, while the MAV will move to the transport category. Aim assist and controller input on the console is targeted to be redefined and improved, but most notably, the controversial voice lines from the specialist at the end of each round will be toned down. This was confirmed by one of the Battlefield community managers on the forums. They stated that we should expect changes to the style and tone of the voice lines in a future update. Now atop all of this, prominent data miner Temporal shared on Twitter that an additional 8-week missions have been added to the game. The weekly missions run until June 16th. Some fans speculate that Season 1 of the live service may drop around this time, as EA and DICE did assure fans that content will arrive in early summer. Temporal noted that more specific details might be shared once the May update goes live. Not only that, but Temporal also found references to a major rework of the specialist system. He discovered mentions of the class selection, progress, and class level. The term combat medics was also used in a new in-game description. We know DICE plans to rework the specialist in the future, so maybe this is the first sign of that. Amy Henning, the game director behind Jak and Daxter and the Uncharted series, has announced that her studio, Skydance New Media, is co-developing a new Star Wars game with Lucasfilm. It's billed as a richly cinematic action-adventure game which features an entirely original story. You may remember that Henning worked with Visceral Games on a single-player Star Wars game codenamed RagTag. That project was scrapped along with the Visceral Games studio back in 2016. It's unclear whether or not this new Star Wars game may pick up development where the RagTag game left off. Activision confirmed the rumors that Godzilla and King Kong will be coming to Call of Duty Warzone. In a cinematic announcement trailer, the duo was shown charging at each other on the Caldera map. An official PlayStation blog post accompanied the trailer, and it shared plenty of details about the new content. Caldera will receive several map changes and unique points of interest. Research facilities and equipment will be scattered around the map. A brand new gulag will be added to the inside of a ship off the coast of the island, and the entire map will receive thematic battle scars all based around the Godzilla and King Kong conflict. Standard multiplayer is also getting new content, 2 small maps named Mayhem and Sphere. Mayhem is based on a 1950s movie set featuring plenty of destructible elements, and in comparison, Sphere is a hidden weapons lab with close-quarter combat. Season 3, featuring all of this content, launches on April 27th, while the King Kong vs. Godzilla event won't start until May 11th. Halo Infinite Season 2 content goes live on May 3rd. The developers at 343 Industries have shared a first look at the new Battle Royale-like mode called Last Spartan Standing. In this new game mode, the entire objective is to survive until the end of the round. 12 players spawn onto different large-scale maps with a limited loadout and 5 respawns. Players will have the option to upgrade their weapons with each kill. You win the round by being the last Spartan alive. Development on a fully fleshed out Halo Battle Royale is also rumored. Codenamed Tatanka, it's being co-developed with the Certain Affinity Studio. This studio primarily consists of ex-Bungie developers who worked on previous Halo and Call of Duty content. Destiny 2's former design director at Bungie, Christopher Barrett, has moved on to the studio's next game. On Twitter this week, Barrett was asked if any hints towards the new game were hidden as Easter eggs in Destiny 2. He replied with yes. Barrett added to the speculation by replying with the word maybe and a moon-shaped smiley face emoji. a subtle hint to some players that maybe the Easter egg is hidden on one of Destiny 2's moons. And players are continuing to frantically search for this Easter egg about Bungie's mysterious next game. Sony is reportedly considering a system that would allow game developers to run ads in their games. This would enable them to monetize their titles on PlayStation consoles further. The procedure would be similar to putting up billboard advertisements featuring real-life ads. The report from Business Insider implies Sony won't enforce the system, but that it would be encouraged for free-to-play games. The report also shares how players may be rewarding for interacting with these advertisements. One example is rewarding players with unique items in-game if they watch an entire ad. How ads are depicted would depend on the individual developer. Strangely, something similar was actually done in Battlefield 2042. An advertisement for Logitech can be found on an in-game billboard on the Hourglass map. Significant updates for the Extraction Royale Hunt Showdown don't come often, and this next patch has players incredibly excited. Update 1.8.1 will introduce new armed versions of the Grunt zombies. They will come in two variants, wielding either a rusted pistol or a lantern. Both variants will be relatively easy to kill, but will create a lot more noise than usual. Noise can be easily heard by other hunters in the game. Update 1.8.1 will also introduce a new daily quest system. These will be a series of challenges that reward players with blood bonds, money, or weapons. Once unlocked, three quests can be tracked at once. The new content should be available on the public test version of the game next week. The Saints Row Reboot showcased its new character customization options this week. The customization is incredibly in-depth. Players will have the freedom to unlock dozens of options with in-game cash. Clothing options vary from firefighter uniforms to fluffy bunny slippers. Players can even adjust the color and material of each clothing item. In-depth physics changes can be made to the characters as well. You can adjust their muscles, scars, and glossiness of their skin. There will also be in-depth customization options for vehicles, weapons, and even your gang bases. The Saints Row Reboot is scheduled to launch on August 23rd. The Polish studio Megapixel has announced a remake of the 1997 classic title The House of the Dead. This on-rails survival shooter amassed a massive cult following over the years. The remake will launch on PC, Google Stadia, PlayStation, and Xbox on April 28th. It includes new features like two-player co-op, local multiplayer, photo mode, and multiple endings. The game's publisher, Forever Entertainment, is currently working on a deal to remaster the second House of the Dead game as well. Before we get to our final story this week, let us know what you thought about Battlefield 2042's latest update 4.0. Has it improved your overall experience? Are you waiting for new content? Let us know in the comments below. Panic, the publishers behind Firewatch and Untitled Goose Game, are making a handheld console called the Playdate. It's a tiny device with a black and white screen and a hand crank. Loaded on its 4 GB of internal data storage are 24 unique indie games. Users must navigate these different games using the D-pad A and B buttons and the hand crank. In some instances, turning the hand crank moves the character on screen. There are supposedly more games coming in the future through seasonal content drops, but there's very little known about them yet. Players can pre-order the device for $179, though it probably won't ship until 2023. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.